Y'all thought, oh, y'all thought I was gonna wait until the timer ran out. Who do you think I am? I'm the Vince Wilson Show. We don't do that. Yeah, are y'all ready to make MAGA cry again? We are going to do just that. Give me 1 second because it looks like my chat box is a little off from my video. Let me go ahead and fix this real quick. I thought we had already fixed it. That's okay. Lower it down a little bit there. There we go. Coop Show. Holy moly macaroni. I ain't seen Coop in a minute. Boy, I know Coop is in there right now with Steven. Oh, man. Long time no see, man. Hope you're doing well. This is what you're doing now. It's kind of an off and on thing. You know how it is. You always know how it is, Coop. I can't ever seem to be consistent, but I've been consistent 2 weeks in a row, and it's been pretty good. What's going on, Spartacus? Welcome in, everybody. Lord and Savior, welcome in, dude. Yeah, we're going to get some MAGA in here. We're going to have them crying. We're going to have them crying. Here, you like this? Look, Coop. Look, Coop. There he is. What's going on, Steven? I knew you were in here, man. Just wait. It gets wild, okay? You see this little thing over here? It's about to go popping off on YouTube, okay? Once I get streaming, I don't know if you guys have seen the MAGA flood in here. It's on YouTube. It's crazy. Just disappointed. Why are y'all disappointed in me? We haven't even gotten into this stuff yet. Come on now. We haven't even gotten into the stories yet. I just went live. Toxic's in here too. Oh, God. Y'all all in here. I know I'm getting roasted right now. Oh, God. And here comes guess who? The Twitch conservatives have raided my channel now, it seems. For anyone who's unaware on YouTube, you're probably like, who is Coop? Who is Steven? Who is guess who? These are the old crew conservatives I have not talked to in a long time, admittedly. So, yes, they are here. Coop, I'm not saying it's a raid. I'm saying that all of you, never mind. I know you messed with me. I forgot. I forgot that's your thing. Ain't no goddamn conservative. I am a former conservative. I'm a reformed conservative who saw the light. You should see the numbers on YouTube. It gets pretty crazy. Twitch has some kind of weird thing where I don't get a whole lot of viewers, and I think Twitch poll is pretty much gone and over with at this point. But YouTube, I've been getting crazy numbers. I really would encourage any of you guys to go check it out. It's kind of crazy. Guess who is, by the way, guys, if you're on YouTube too, guess who is somebody who is a little bit upset by the fact that I don't respond to him on X, and I do that on purpose, and it drives him crazy, all the stuff I get. LARPing as conservative doesn't count. No, I definitely held some conservative viewpoints. I think the Overton window shifted quite a bit. Trump getting ready to do with Epstein's girlfriend. Didn't he say that during the campaign? Maybe I forgot. Right. And we'll get into that too. MAGA is absolutely covering for Epstein. Let's go ahead and jump straight into it. Let me get my solo web source going here. My window capture is all jacked up. Let me go ahead and pull this up. Should be this one. And I got to pull this one up here. I didn't have it set up before. I should have had it set it up. All right. So we're going to do some news stories. We got a couple of other videos to watch. Not a whole lot, though. What are your pronouns these days? They are Coop and Show. That's my pronouns. Shithead. I'll take it, Toxic. I respect it. I don't know how, but I've got a pink marker right now sitting on my desk, and I literally don't know how that ended up there. What's going on, Jabberwocky? Oh, shoot, Jabber. Damn. Yeah, I know I'm getting roasted right now. This is crazy. I got all sorts of people in here. Yo, this feels like old times. Only thing I'm missing, hold on. Oh, I don't have my phone on me. I was going to say, hold on. Let me see if I can pull it up on something real quick. Hold on. This is what we're missing here. For all the people I know that are sitting in here. Hold on. Let me do this. Let's put this over here. There you go. Which, accurately, this whole fireplace is a symbol of how crazy our country has gone, by the way. No, not a wine bottle, and we will not talk about that ever again. Totally didn't do that. Oh, y'all are crazy, man. Y'all are crazy. Hey, by the way, we got 96 viewers or 81 viewers right now on YouTube. Please make sure you hit that like, subscribe, notification bell if you haven't already. It helps push us out into the algorithm. But I wanted to pull this fireplace up because one, it is appropriate given the disaster that America is in right now, and second, it is for a particular joke that well, not really joke. I mean, anyways, let's go on with it. So let's go to here. So the first things first we want to talk about is yes, administration is a dumpster fire right now. I want to talk about this right here. We'll talk about. Oh, why do I have Powell up first? Oh no, my stuff got out of order. Well, that's not good. Oh no, I know why it's there. Sorry. All right, we're gonna talk about the state of the economy. I thought we were gonna talk about it is fire, yeah. Where is your mask? It's not near me. Okay, so the first thing we want to talk about is the economy. We're going to talk about the economy and what's going on right now. Some of the Jerome Powell stuff that's going on. It's pretty great. So we have Scott Turner here. In 2018, Powell brought down interest rates during the Biden administration, and now he won't even bring it down when the economy is thriving. I don't understand it. Well, first and foremost, Mr. Turner, or Scott Turner, you would see that in 2018, I believe Donald J. Trump was president, not Joe Biden. And we'll get to that in a minute. But I think what he meant to say is, I don't even know why he would say 2018. I don't even know why he would say that. But nonetheless, he doesn't know what year it is. And this tends to follow with the MAGA agenda. But this was pretty great. This was so Donald Trump toured the Federal Reserve yesterday, or I think it was yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. It's crazy. The news flies. Visited it yesterday, and Donald Trump tried to call him out and say, look, there is over $3.1 billion, and we're way over budget. You can see it here. Trump saying it looks like it's about $3.1 billion. Let's watch this play out in real time. Let's go back over here.
Yeah. Oops. So we're taking a look, and it looks like it's about 3.1 billion. It went up a little bit.
Look at Powell's face.
So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody at the Fed.
Yeah, it just came out.
Jay Powell.
I said it about 3.1 as well.
3.1,
3.2.
This came from us?
Yes. I don't know who does that.
You're including the Martin renovation. You just added
our entire capital.
Yeah, you just added in a third building is what that is. That's a third building.
Well, no, but it's a building that's being built.
No, it was built 5 years ago. We finished.
You can tell how annoyed Jerome Powell is. And by the way, we'll watch the actual full video. It's not very long. Jerome Powell is off to the side, and Donald Trump reels him in. And Jerome Powell looks extremely annoyed by this entire visit. And it was announced shortly after this that Jerome Powell said, I'm not stepping down. I'm not retiring. And keep in mind, guys, throughout this entire thing, right, Spartacus, he pulled a paper out of his pocket so confidently. And he did, first of all, this is crazy to me too. So Donald Trump pulls it out of his pocket and he says, I don't know who made these numbers. So you're just, I mean, I get it. He's trying to, blindly support the people around him. But I just find it hysterical to me, right? He pulls it out so confidently, and Jerome Powell goes, bro, these aren't even accurate. Which calls into question this entire thing that Donald Trump is trying to do, one, by distracting, trying to get Jerome Powell fired for a cause. We talked about this Wednesday and I believe last week. They're trying to get Jerome Powell fired. That's exactly what's happening. Donald Trump may not say that, but that's exactly what's happening. And again, this whole thing stems around this renovation project. So if Donald Trump's numbers are wrong right here, wouldn't surprise me. And this isn't the first time that Donald Trump has absolutely botched any kind of numbers. Okay. And for example, I think I mentioned this Wednesday. What you see is Vladimir Putin's in the chat, guys. Watch out. What you see is that they mentioned there's 0 releases going on right now. There were 0 releases at the border. They're doing this intentionally to try to distract from the fact that there was still border crossings, albeit 9,000 crossing or 9,000 Southwest border encounters. But Donald Trump, being Donald Trump, not understanding what the hell is going on with his ripe old age of almost 80, decided that he was going to believe that it was actually 0 people that crossed the border. So this isn't the first time that Donald Trump has just absolutely messed up numbers. And we see this kind of playing out a little bit here with some incompetent people like Russell Vought. Russell Vought saying the president wants to see lower rates. We watch the next Fed meeting very closely. America is hot right now. It's not hot right now. The economy is on fire, but in the wrong way. CNBC says, but you do understand the argument that if the economy is doing so well, that's an argument to not lower the rates. And he goes, well, you don't want to have rates artificially high. You just said it's hot. If the economy is hot, you don't want to lower the rates. It's only going to make the economy more hot. But Russell Vought, by the way, Russell Vought was an author of Project 2025, and the only reason that he's in this administration, decided to sit there and say that it's hot and we need to lower rates. No, that's not how this works. That's patently against it. And then we see Lutnick, Freudian slip. Who paid for tax on tips and no tax on overtime? Tariffs. What he's referring to here is because he understands that no tax on tips and no tax on overtime. Remember, read into the in-between here, guys. Read between the lines. It's not very difficult to do. What he is saying here is that the tax on tips and overtime would reduce federal income. That's basic tax cut 101. Thus, if your expenses are high, you've got to make up for that cut, right? They've estimated how much it's going to take to cut it down. And he's estimating this based on tariffs. There's one problem with this formula here, okay? Whatever savings that these workers, by the way, the no tax on tips and overtime is capped. I think it's at like $20,000 or whatever it is. I digress. The point is that any kind of savings you may have otherwise seen through these tax cuts are going to be lost because of these tariffs via inflation. Right? So he's going to sit here and argue for tariffs, even though tariffs are going to make them lose all these gains. And because of all of this, you can see here that CNN detailed that Trump's approval rating among independents is the worst on record at this point and has cratered since January. Now, for anybody in chat right now, all 148 of you guys in YouTube, by the way, hit that like, subscribe, notification bell as you trickle in here. Please do that. Do me a huge solid on that. It would boost us in the algorithm. What you don't see here is that he's actually doing worse, and as it said, as any other president. Worse than Biden, worse than Obama. And it's important to note, too, I've looked at Donald Trump's numbers on the 538, or not 538, sorry, they're no longer out there. It's Real Clear Politics. Look it up. If I can pull it up, I will. Matter of fact, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. I had it pulled up somewhere. Let's see. I'm not going to look for it right now, but it's up there. Go look at, I would encourage all of you guys, go look at the polling. Donald Trump only exceeded, he became net favorable one time. Throughout both of his administrations, he's remained underwater. He has never come above. And so we got that going on. And then we had this right here. Donald Trump having an accidental flip here. On July 18th, I'll let the video speak for itself, actually. Let's just watch the video.
Let the dollar slide. If we have a smart president, you're never going to let the dollar slide. If you have a dummy, that could happen. Like the last one, he would, if you ever asked him about the dollar sliding, he would have no idea. But we can't let that ever happen again.
Why has the dollar fallen so much, and are you concerned about that?
Well, you know, I'm a person that likes a strong dollar, but a weak dollar makes you a hell of a lot more money. When we have a strong dollar, one thing happens. It sounds good. But you don't do any tourism. You can't sell tractors. You can't sell trucks. You can't sell anything.
Donald Trump contradicting himself within a span of 6 days. And this plays into exactly what I've been saying, guys. A lot of people have been laughing at me saying Donald Trump doesn't have dementia. How can you literally change a tune within, like, what is this? Less than, it's like 7 days? How do you change a tune that quickly? A week has gone by, and now all of a sudden he's saying a weak dollar is great. But then you said a weak dollar makes someone a dummy. He doesn't have a consistent talking point. Or more likely is that he has some kind of form of dementia. I'm just saying. We have seen where Donald Trump, for example, earlier, I believe last month or a couple of weeks ago, whatever it was, said that there are 7 new plants opening up. And I was like, well, where are these 7 new plants coming from? I kid you not. It was he's referring to what I believe to be the 7 steel plants that opened up during his first administration. So either he's lying or he's suffering from old age. So pick your lane there. And then we hear here, Trump and Howard Lutnick claim Japan agreed to fund U.S. projects to give America 90% of the profits. Except there's one problem that Japanese officials just said there's no written or binding agreement and profits will be split based on risk and contribution. So I listened to the Midas Touch, so credit to Midas Touch for this. And I went through and looked at the article. There is no binding agreement. And in fact, the way that this works is that, first of all, that $500 billion number that they keep tossing around for Japan that they're going to invest back into the country. Yeah, that $500 billion is one going into a joint investment fund, if you will, and may go unused if they don't appropriately use it, essentially, right? And again, the way that they do this is that they're saying that 90% split, it's like a 90-10 split, is not binding. And Japan has said that they have the capability to maneuver that as they see fit, which means that guess what? That 90-10 split can get changed for maybe, let's say, washers and dryers or whatever it may be, whatever investment it may be. Japan may say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and flip this to where we get 90% and you get 10%. A lot of the terms right now are not binding. They're very loose and they're subject to change literally at any point, according to Japan. Exactly, Dan Price. There's no such thing as a deal or even a framework right now. Nothing on paper. And I knew it didn't sound right. And I encourage anybody out there that is watching this, when you hear something that sounds so outlandish, go out there, research it, and listen. I'm a pundit. I am a political pundit. Don't take my word for it. Go out there, do your research. And as Paul Bowman in the chat just said, thanks for the facts. MAGA needs to keep hearing the truth. Absolutely. So Salvatore Dante said, what are we talking about? We're talking about right now the economy. That's what we're talking about right now. We're about to shift over into one of the hottest topics going on currently, and that is the Epstein files. Green Dog, please chill out on that. I don't know how TOS that is, but just chill out. I know what you're saying. I'm probably right there with you on that. Let's just chill out a little bit, okay? Todd Pemper, Spartacus. Oh, you're responding to him. Terrible Time said facts don't mean anything in politics. Unfortunately, you are correct, Terrible. A lot of people right now in our political landscape don't care about facts. And to anybody out there who's watching this on Twitch right now, namely some of the conservatives that have popped in there, and even if you're watching this on YouTube, I was a former conservative. Up until about 2020. That's when I started to move way more liberal, okay? Right around 2021 because of January 6th. That's when I saw that I realized I am in a cult. That is when I realized there is nothing that this man can do to dissuade his most radical base. And so I left that party. I said, there's no way that I could see myself supporting Donald Trump anymore. And I realized, how many times can I sit here and say that it's 4D chess, that Donald Trump doesn't actually mean what he means? And let's be very clear. I do agree that I think his first administration was, as crazy as I may say, was far less radical than it is right now. It was bad. I'll admit that, but it wasn't near as bad. So what I'm saying by this is that I saw how radical it had gotten. I understood and looked in the mirror and said, wow, something's going on. So after that point, and this is why some of the people who are on Twitch and we're seeing this, people kept saying, "You're Doghouse, you're not a conservative." Doghouse, by the way, it's my former name. So what I decided to go in and do is I started looking at the facts, and the facts were what guide me, and they still guide me to this day. There's nothing about feelings that really guide me. I may be excited, but that does not mean that feelings are driving what I am. And the facts are on the Democrat side right now. The facts absolutely are. This is why Kamala Harris, I've said it from the very get-go. When you're looking at who was the best candidate last year, it's undeniable that Kamala Harris was the best option, and we're seeing that play out in real time right now due to the inflation numbers. We can see it due to our reputation on the world stage is absolutely deteriorated. Now, do I think that Kamala Harris was like the most best person for the left? Probably not. There's probably a whole lot more candidates out there that are best for the left. But I argued this in the election. I said, if there's anyone as a conservative right now, if you want to take that exit, you have that clear exit ramp right now as a conservative, the best person to vote for as a Democrat would be Kamala Harris. It's the best time to go and vote for someone like that. She was extremely moderate, despite what some people might believe. The Republicans try to paint her as a communist, but I promise you, she was far from that. She did not take a solid stance on the Israel and Palestine conflict. She didn't really she took a middle of the ground stance there. She was for tax cuts, for propping up businesses. She was essentially a Biden 2.0, right? So anyways, the point of what I'm getting at with that is that I knew, and you can go look at all my videos. I was very much online during the election. I knew I had to vote. And so for the first time ever in my life, I voted Democrat last year with Colin Allred as the senator of choice. So LA Sun MAGA are seeing that Trump for who he is, a fraud, a failure, and completely incompetent. And that's the problem, Dan, is I think that we're at a point in our political landscape where I don't believe we're going to see very many MAGA converts at this point. What I do believe is that worst, they're going to leave Trump. That's great. But the problem is they're just going to look for another leader. We saw this play out, by the way, I believe either last election or the year before that, the election before that, where they sat there and they said, oh, did we get some super chats in here? Okay, I didn't know if we got one. Wait, why is this goal? Oh, the goal ends in 3 minutes. Okay, I don't know why it did that. Strange. I don't know why it ended in 2 minutes. Anyways, this is top chat. I need live chat. That's why I got stuff all over the place. I was like, I don't see everybody in here. That makes sense. But this is why when I look at Kamala Harris, Donald Trump, they may get rid of Donald Trump, but the reality of it is that they're going to vote for somebody who's a MAGA light. They're going to vote for someone like a Vivek Ramaswamy. I remember hearing that. Or Ron DeSantis, right? Those are just MAGA lights. They're not, they try to, and this is the problem I have with the MAGA movement, is they will do this. And this is why I told people, watch out for this with the Epstein case. Because what they're going to do is they're going to go out there and say, see, guys, I'm not a radical right lunatic. I'm not radically right. I don't always support Donald Trump. I don't even support this. But the reality of it is that they're going to still support the MAGA movement. And the MAGA movement is what's the problem. Donald Trump is a problem too. Don't get me twisted. Don't get it twisted. Okay? But he's like halfway to drooling, okay? Trump, so we're, sure, I agree with you, Scott. So where most of the presidents, they come from a pool of the elites. Sure, absolutely. And this is the thing is Donald Trump kept running on this where he's like, I'm not part of the deep state. I'm not a politician. No, Donald Trump, you're a politician. For people who forget what year it is, it's 2025. Donald Trump ran in 2016. We're close to 10 years since Donald Trump entered the political arena, at least what we now know it today. Now, people would say and point to, well, and I've heard this mentioned, and I would kind of tend to agree, that they'd say, well, Donald Trump tried to run in 2000. Sure, but that's not completely true, and it didn't get out of the exploratory phase. So for what we know, for the past decade, Donald Trump has been a politician. Don't let that slip. MAGA is a problem. Why would putting Americans first be a problem? See, again, it's funny how Steve, welcome in, buddy. Don't take what I'm about to say too offensive. Problem that Steve is using here with MAGA is a problem. Why would putting Americans first a problem? Is the same kind of rhetoric that the left has used with Antifa, right? Antifa being anti-fascist. So I'd be curious what you think about with that, because you're trying to say and use this little funny way of saying, oh, it's MAGA, make America great again. Why was that a problem? Don't be disingenuous on that. You know what I mean? Another olive for your cocktail is Horde. Hey guys, by the way, I know I've been repetitive. Before we get into the next story, please, again, hit that like button, like, subscribe, notification bell if you haven't already. It's free. It's easy. And if you feel like you want to support this stream further, by all means, feel free to drop a dono or a super chat. I'd be greatly appreciative of that. Our goal here, guys, is we want to make this one of the largest talk shows on YouTube. Now, that sounds crazy, right? No, I understand. There's a whole lot of bigger talk shows on YouTube. But I want us to grow here. We've been trying this thing for several years, and I just finally picked it back up, and now I am forever going to try to get this going. All right, let's go ahead and straight forward. Let's get on the Epstein story. So, the next story we've got here is the Epstein story. There is a lot to cover here, okay? There's a lot. Actually, I kid you. There's not a lot. There's only been like 1-2 stories in the past 3 days. Only problem with me doing, there's only been like one story. And that is the fact that they are trying to get testimony from Ghislaine Maxwell. And they are starting to reveal their cards of why they're getting this testimony. You have Tim Burchett here saying that, admitting that House Republicans may agree to ask DOJ to reduce the sentence of Ghislaine Maxwell in exchange for her testimony if they like what she has to say. Right? And then what we see is that they finally meet with Ghislaine Maxwell, but it turns out that Attorney General Todd Blanche, who is, by the way, Trump's former personal attorney that is now working at the DOJ, along with the whole host. Okay, keep in mind, too, the DOJ right now, by the way, guys, is full of Trump's personal attorneys. Pam Bondi, I believe, represented him in the impeachment case. We have Todd Blanche, who was Trump's personal attorney, I believe, in the lawsuit or the criminal case. And then we have Emil Bove. All three of those are top dogs at the DOJ, and they worked for Donald Trump when he was out and doing this stuff. So, and keep in mind now, by the way, Emil Bove is now, if he hasn't already, he might have been confirmed, to a lifetime appointment as a judge for the Southern District of New York, a very, very prestigious district, judicial district. But anyways, so Attorney General Todd Blanche went to go meet with Ghislaine Maxwell, and a guy who is representing Ghislaine Maxwell is a guy by the name of David Oscar, and apparently they're close friends. The plot thickens. And then Donald Trump today, which we'll watch this video as well, was asked, what do you hope Todd Blanche gets out of the meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell? And he said people should really focus on how well the country is doing, or they should focus on the fact that Barack, see, this is the thing. They always do this. You can always tell when there's a conservative and then there's a racist conservative, okay? I'm just saying. Where he goes, the fact that Barack Hussein Obama led a coup. Now, first and foremost, which one's worse, January 6th or what allegedly Obama did? The allegations against Obama were, and this is according to Tulsi Gabbard, is that Obama said that the Russians, basically, the lie there, okay, the coup, is that apparently Obama said that Russia preferred Trump over Hillary. Ignoring the fact, by the way, that James Comey announced an investigation into Hillary. We'll put that aside. Do you think that's worse than January 6th? I think it's pretty obvious. That's the irony in this. But then the other thing here is the bigger part, is when he's saying people should really focus on how well the country is doing, or they should focus on Obama. That's Donald Trump saying the quiet part out loud. What he's saying is, hey, that's cool. I know you're talking about Epstein, but hey, guys, can you talk about this instead? That's what he's saying. That's what he's saying right now. And that's exactly what MAGA is trying to do, by the way. So then he was asked or talked about, again, he kept reiterating this. He said, you should focus on Clinton. You should focus on the president of Harvard, the former president of Harvard. You should focus on some of the hedge fund guys. I'll give you a list. These guys lived with Jeffrey Epstein. I sure as hell didn't. Okay, first of all, Trump, you're name dropping like crazy. And I'm curious, and I find it interesting, too, that he says the former president of Harvard. It's pretty obvious why he's saying that, right? Because, again, Donald Trump has tried yanking funding away from Harvard, okay? That's what he's already done. And now he's saying you should focus on some of these hedge fund guys. I wonder where he's getting that from. I'm not quite sure. But it is funny it says you should focus on Clinton. So we'll get to why he's naming some of these people here shortly. But we have pictures of Donald Trump with Epstein. Far more. By the way, if we had the amount of pictures of Donald Trump with Epstein, like with anybody else on the Democratic side, like if it were, I don't know, Biden, we all remember the jokes that were made about Biden sniffing people's hair, okay? Like that. Imagine this amount of evidence of Biden if Biden were with Epstein. Oh my gosh, Republicans would be calling for impeachment. They'd be calling for impeachment. And then we get it fully revealed. Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney saying, we haven't spoken to the president or anybody about a pardon just yet. The president this morning said he had the power to do so, and we hope he exercises that power in a right and just way. And if it doesn't get any crazier, you can see that Ghislaine Maxwell gave the Justice Department info about, quote unquote, 100 different people linked to Jeffrey Epstein. How much do you want to bet when they release these, Donald Trump's name is not once going to be on it? And secondly, the 100 different people linked to Epstein, very curious how they're defining linked. Because if we're just talking about association, right? If we're just talking about association, how can Donald Trump not be on that list? If you're saying an implication of guilt that they were an associate and partook in some of these things, then how do you know that they did? Other than Ghislaine Maxwell's own words, right? So the only way they can do this without facing any kind of lawsuit, essentially, is if this were just to be a simple associate. And if it's just a simple associate, then absolutely Donald Trump should be on the list. So if he's not on this list, just saying. And you can see here, this is major breaking. Ghislaine Maxwell was granted immunity by the DOJ during her meeting to the Department of Justice. Maxwell answered questions for about 9 hours over 2 days. And what we didn't see in this too, by the way, is that when Ghislaine Maxwell returned to custody in the I believe it was a federal prison, she was carrying a very large box. And again, I'm not going to get conspiratorial with it. We work on facts, not feelings. Just saying though, what was that box for? Now, innocently, it could be just some of her belongings, right? She took the belongings with her to jail or to the meeting. Maybe it was her legal work, whatever it may have been. We didn't see her going out with it, so we don't really know. But I'm just saying, it's convenient, isn't it? So again, when we get to this Epstein stuff, what we're seeing is that it looks like Ghislaine Maxwell was potentially, if not given, an actual deal to testify, meaning any testimony that she's going to give is going to be probably extremely biased and somehow omit Trump. And the reality is that, again, this is a distraction, and they're starting to feed MAGA some of these talking points. And believe it or not, MAGA is now going to, what I predict is going to happen, they're going to release the name of these 100 people, and it's going to be conveniently one-sided, which, by the way, if those people on the left are associated with Epstein, absolutely, they should be ousted. I don't care what party they're in. But it's going to be very convenient when it's all on the left and you're not going to hear anything, and you're all of a sudden you're going to have MAGA defending, and we were already seeing it, defending the pardon of Ghislaine Maxwell. I believe she was convicted. MAGA's defending Ghislaine Maxwell. When we sat here and we heard through the election cycle how much they were standing for children, right? The children that were in schools and using different bathrooms and everything else, and how they stand up for all the illegal or undocumented immigrants that are going in and harming our children, our youth, all the books in the library. And now you're going to pardon Ghislaine Maxwell? Are you serious? Don't ever look at me. If you defend Ghislaine Maxwell's pardon, I don't want to hear anything about Republicans all of a sudden caring about children. I don't want to hear about it. Because you're going in there and you're defending, which, again, we already saw this, by the way, when Donald Trump pardoned all of those people that took place on January 6th. We saw this happen, right? He pardoned them and he said, we're for law and order. We're all for law and order. Yet you pardoned 1,600 some odd individuals who were the antithesis of law and order? Spare me. All right, let's get to the chat. Tron, if you're cutting and editing, that's where you need to end it. Just FYI. Okay. So we got a few people. Okay, say he didn't participate, but that's a big if. Trump knew what Epstein was about, and he knew. So it doesn't even matter. He allowed his bestie to recruit in Mar-a-Lago. Yeah, well, and keep in mind too, Gobi, the big issue here we have here is that there's allegedly photos that are in the FBI's custody of Epstein's mansion, I guess, on the island. I would be willing to bet, if not, I would not be surprised in the slightest if there's a picture of, at the very least, him and Donald Trump buddy, okay? I have no doubt that that's probably in there, and one of the reasons why he doesn't release. But I've said this before. If Donald Trump just released the files, we wouldn't be talking about this right now. Donald Trump, in and of himself, has so much. You know, he said he was an enigma, right? We would have been done and over this because there would have been another story to talk about. But because he kept hiding it, because he kept trying to bury the story, it made it that much worse. And now we're starting to wonder, why are you trying to bury it so hard? Is there something further than just simply being buddies with Epstein? We're left to ask those questions. Is how he met Melania? I think I've heard something about that question. I haven't looked into it. Yeah, well, I'd be willing to bet that if most of you, if not all of you, know somebody that's doing something illegal, please go turn them in. Nobody is suggesting, and first of all, by the way, I've heard this argument too. I'm not saying you're using this, Salvatore. The issue I have is I've heard people say, well, there's so many high-ranking people on that list. We don't want to release it. No, release it. I don't care. I don't want to defend anybody who is doing these things. Release it. Call them out. If your buddy's doing illegal things, you probably don't want to associate with them. Because guess what? This happens time and time again. Guess what? Your buddy, you know he's into a whole bunch of, and I'm used to TikTok language, so forgive me if I say anything that sounds TikTok-y, right? He may be into dabbling in certain things that you wouldn't condone, okay? Let's say that are illegal substances. You're driving down the road with him, and next thing you know, you get pulled over. You're not doing anything. You don't want to call him out, but next thing you know, your buddy is getting arrested because there's something in his possession or under the seat, and because he doesn't want to take credit for it, guess what? Now you go down with it too. So when you sit there and you don't say anything about your buddy, I'm not saying you got to turn your friend in. In this case, I probably would, given the severity of what Epstein is was charged with and ultimately would have probably been convicted for. What I am saying is that for that, you should probably turn him in. I'm not saying you should turn your buddy in, but what I am saying is you probably shouldn't associate with that individual. Donald Trump was seen for years associated with Epstein. And again, the problem here, quite frankly, if it's just Donald Trump's name is on, like, I don't know, a letter to Epstein, depending on what it is, right? It may be innocent, but release the files. Release them. The more you hide it, the more guilty you look. Way, go set in the Tesla you bought from MAGA. Yeah, that's the funny thing too, right? We talked about Doge, and we didn't get into it in the economy. Donald Trump went to Scotland today to stay at one of his resorts. Now, I don't know if any of you guys remember this. It was actually not that long ago. Remember when it was found out that Donald Trump received, or Trump's organization received, I believe it was like hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars from the Secret Service having to stay there? Yeah, we're going to have the same issue here. But nobody's talking about this, is that Trump is staying, he's gone down to Mar-a-Lago nearly every single weekend, and now he's over this weekend, this upcoming weekend, he's going to be in Scotland staying at one of his resorts again. Where, by the way, he's hosting numerous parties. He's got numerous high-ranking officials that are meeting him at these locations. But none of us are talking about the fact that this is like the government just giving him free money, essentially, or his organization free money. This was a huge story during his first administration. But because there's like a million big stories under his second administration, we don't bat an eye to this. It's baffling to me. Salvatore, so exactly, Teletron. Okay, hey, y'all, chill. Believe me, totally get it. Let's be very careful what we're using in chat. Make sure it's TOS friendly, okay? That's all I ask. Totally with some of you guys and some of y'all's opinions, but keep it TOS. So we're going to move on to the next story here. And before I do that, you already know what I'm going to say. Please, guys, if you haven't already, please make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell. Okay? All right, let's get into the next story. Hope you guys are ready. This is going to be kind of one of those rapid fire stories. There's not going to be really any rhythm with it. It's just going to be some little tidbits of different things here and there. All right. So we're getting more stories out from CCOT due to the fact that the Donald Trump administration was forced to go in and release some of these individuals back to the United States. And some of these stories are pretty horrifying. So right here we have this one. Now that the men imprisoned by the Trump admin and in El Salvador are free, their stories are coming out and they are horrific. And you can read this one here. In the 4 months they spent, you guys probably can't read it on the big one. They spent there. The detainees said they were beaten repeatedly with wooden bats. Gonzalez was robbed of thousands of dollars, he said, and denied access to lawyers or a chance to call his family. Juan Suarez was taken several times to a dark room known as La Isla, or the Island, and beaten, kicked, and insulted. Angel Blanco Marine said he was hit so hard he lost half of a molar. He asked for painkillers and medical attention, was given none for more than a month. And then we see this one here. One night in mid-May, some of the Venezuelan migrants deported from the United States to a prison in El Salvador tried to break the locks on their cells with metal rails from their beds. It was a futile gesture of rebellion. No one thought they could escape. Still, punishment was swift. For 6 days, the inmates were subjected to lengthy beatings. 3 inmates told me on the last day, male guards brought in their female colleagues who struck the prisoners as the male guards recorded videos on their phones and laughed. The female guards would count to 20 as they administer the beatings, and if the prisoners complained or cried out, they would start again. Cito Martinez, one of the inmates, recalled that a prison nurse was watching hit the piñata. She cheered. See, this is difficult to read. Because, see, this is why I'm so at least deeply concerned. He probably didn't get those painkillers. What really concerns me about all this is in the American prison system, as deplorable as it may be, there are still certain rights that prisoners have. Namely, they have to abide by the Constitution, no cruel and unusual punishment. It's important to note here, too, that some of these migrants that were deported to CCOT were not even from that country, right? And furthermore, they were never given due process, right? That's the bigger problem and why they're coming back to the United States to begin with. They just were deported there and had to go through this. And I about guarantee you that the American government is certainly, at least not under Trump, going to pay them for any of that pain and suffering. They're not beholden to the U.S. Constitution while they're there and while their court case is pending out. This is kind of the problem with the way that our immigration system works, right? And so they're being deported to these countries that will subject them to this, right? That don't have to abide by the Constitution, but yet they're told, hey, work your court case out from your home country. But this is where they're sending them. So how can that happen? It doesn't really work out that way. We also have another Fell For It Again award here. The DOJ sues Eric Adams for New York City sanctuary city policies. Congratulations, Zohan. Pam Bundy just handed you the keys to New York. By the way, Zohan Mamdani has absolutely soared in the polls. This is the problem. Republicans are like, look how bad this guy is. And then Democrats are like, yo, bet. This guy is awesome. And I haven't looked at all of Mamdani's policy, so don't take this to say that he's like actually bad or anything. I'm just saying that spotlight has jolted Zohan Mamdani higher in the polls because of, guess what? Name recognition. The Republicans handed it to him. And now them suing Eric Adams for these sanctuary city policies, keep in mind the DOJ is the same DOJ that recommended to the court for them to drop the charges against Eric Adams. And now they're turning on him. Now, I have heard an interesting theory, which I don't know how true it is, and so I'm take everything I say with a grain of salt on this one. But someone mentioned that this is a famous way of trying to essentially pay back for the alleged bribe. Now, I don't have any proof of that, but basically the idea is that they would sue and then he would end up settling and then paying the federal government for that, right? It's just a legalized form of bribery is what I've understood it to be, but I don't know how true that is, so take it with a grain of salt. So the next one here is our infringement on the First Amendment. Boy, do we have some infringement on the First Amendment. FCC Chair Brendan Carr, by the way, an author of Project 2025, specifically the FCC chapter. Funny how that works. The FCC chapter author of Project 2025 now is the FCC chair. See how that works? Fox asked, is the View now in the crosshairs of this administration? Brendan Carr says it's entirely possible there are issues over there. The consequences aren't quite finished. Now, keep in mind, the Donald Trump administration has already sued ABC. They've already sued Paramount, I believe is what it was, or CBS. Right? They've gone after 60 Minutes. They've gone after Jimmy Fallon. They've gone after Stephen Colbert. They're doing everything they can. By the way, they've gone after PBS and NPR. PBS and NPR as well. People forget about those. Interesting, though, how they try to say Donald Trump is a champion for the Constitution, even though he has not only gone after the First Amendment, he's gone after the 14th Amendment, full stop. He's denying people their due process rights. And now they want to go after The View. And you can see here CNBC saying Colbert is a comedian. You keep talking about journalism, fairness, and news, but we all remember Carson and Jay Leno giving Reagan the business. Where does that fit in? What he's trying to say here is like, look, Stephen Colbert isn't even really the news. Stephen Colbert is a comedian, right? Like, where do comedians fit in on this? And FCC Chair Brendan Carr says, frankly, the media industry across the country needs a course correction. A course correction. Imagine, dare I say it again, imagine for just a second if we had Joe Biden or Kamala Harris going in and saying that the media needs a course correction. We had already heard, with far less, by the way, we have already heard how Kamala Harris and Joe Biden were communist. Could you imagine if they were to do something like this, where they say the media needs course correction? And we're going to save this one for a second. I'm going to address chat because this one's really good. Yeah, it wasn't 70%. It was 90% zero criminal history. My bad. Colbert brought political people in all the time. Stop the lies. He can bring political people in all the time. It's still, again, where's that dividing line? He was a comedian nonetheless. Where do you draw that line? I'm sure Jay Leno probably brought on some controversial guests. I can pull those up, and I'm sure I'll find something for Jay Leno and Obama. You'd have to be an idiot to think socialism or communism work without capitalism, the Republican network. I'm not somebody who really gets into political philosophy, and I don't know if I would say I necessarily subscribe to one or the other. I would say I'm probably more capitalist than I am anything else. But, you know, left lunatics approval ratings is 19%. Now, when I say capitalist, I'll be very clear because a lot of my people in my chat are going to be like, what? You're capitalist? Hold up there. Hold up. I'm a liberal for a reason. Although the way that MAGA is going, I'm probably going to be a progressive at some point, right? Stop lying. Course correction statement is opinion, not a First Amendment violation. Steve, you would not give any of this amount of generosity to any Democrat. There's no way. I know, Wes, boo capitalism. But you know what I'm saying. I one of the things about this show, guys, that I want you guys to understand, this is not going to be a show that's going to be try to bore you to sleep with the theories of communism, the theories of socialism. Listen, the show is to try to basically bring in people who would otherwise don't have very much time in their day and want to just get some news. And I'm going to try to give that to them with a little bit of opinion of myself, right? I'm not just going to be a news reporter. I'm not the news. I'm here to provide some opinion as well. You Trump followers are the... Not wrong there, Ryan. Release the files. Absolutely, Perry. Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. All right, guys, let's go to the next story here. So this is pretty crazy, guys. I don't know how you guys feel about homelessness and what you think we should have as a resolution for homelessness. Unfortunately, if you want to be bored by the theory of socialism, communism, join the Discord, and Wes will surely talk your ear off about it. So let's go ahead and talk about this. If you guys love talking about homelessness, well, this might interest you. So apparently, Donald Trump signed a new executive order ending crime and disorder on American streets. There's one problem with this. In the purpose section, it says shifting homeless individuals into long-term institutional settings for humane treatment through the appropriate use of civil commitment will restore public order. Let's read that again. Shifting homeless individuals into long-term. How long is long? We don't know until they seem fit. Institutional settings. It's funny to me, too, because they try to say for humane treatment. I don't know about you, but the history of the United States has not had a really good history when it comes to forced institutions. Never worked out real well. And in case anybody's wondering, I do have that pulled up here, executive order pulled up. And there's a couple of interesting parts here. One of the ones I wanted to see here and show you guys is fighting vagrancy on American streets. Basically, what this is saying is that you can get priority grants from the federal government. States can get priority grants if they meet these criteria. I want you guys to see what this says. Sure, one sounds fine. Enforce prohibition on open, illicit, drug use. Fine. Maybe that's a good opinion. That's kind of mild. Read the next two. Enforce prohibitions on urban camping and loitering, and enforce prohibitions on urban squatting. Now, urban squatting is when someone sits in a vacant residence and essentially is squatting there and then they have to be evicted. The problem I have with this is that what does this mean? It means that these people are going to be, the states are going to be incentivized to, guess what? Start picking up homeless people and putting them in long-term institutions for unknown amount of time. Because guess what? If they don't, and they don't get rid of these urban encampments, guess what? They're not going to get the federal money. And guess what Republican states love, guys, if you're not aware of this? Republican states love to take in federal money. Steve from Rivera said it means private property rights are being restored. You can restore private property rights without forcibly arresting individuals and putting them into institutions. You don't have to put these homeless people into institutions. And again, if you want to talk about providing government programs, like say, I don't know, government subsidies for housing, right? Section 8 or whatever it is, right? I have no problem with that. Because guess what? Nobody's telling the homeless person, hey, come here, let me put you in handcuffs, let me take you down to the county jail, and then let's try to figure out where we're going to put you. No one's doing that under Section 8, not that I'm aware of. We can do this in a humane way without putting them in long-term institutions. And again, Dan Fries is 110% correct. Yo, T. Joseph, thank you for the super chat, buddy. End homelessness by voting Democrats out? Yo, that's like you donated $2. Hey, I'll take it. Thank you so much, Joseph. I appreciate it. End homelessness by voting Democrats out. If you want, I don't know how that's going to work. It's interesting to me, though, how we're seeing. Right, exactly, Wes. I love when end homelessness means lock them up. And again, it's funny because Dan Fry said it before the super chat came in. Thank you for the super chat, though, even though you want to just make your announcement heard. Dan Fry is 100% correct. This is MAGA going for big government. This is big government. This is the same thing. This is the authoritarian stuff that the Republicans would cry about to the Democrats or complain about with the Democrats. They're literally doing this. And then we have things like this, right? The speech that President Trump gave at the summit 2 days ago, probably the most significant technological speech that's been given since JFK said, we're going to put a man on the moon. Yes, that was said. By the way, this was Donald Trump saying that he's a genius. This was the Genius Act that he's referring to. Yeah, he said, Donald Trump said, I'm a genius. It was a terrible speech, by the way. No more different than any of his other blabbering speeches. Trump literally just told police to criminalize homelessness. So sure. Yeah, exactly, Wes. By the way, subverting Congress in this entire thing, by the way. Also, might I add, this is also coming from the same government that put the military on our streets. They put the Marines down in Los Angeles. It's the same government that said, we're going to subvert the will of California and put the National Guard on the streets. This is the same government that has said that they are openly going to racially profile people. This is the same government, by the way, that has openly said that they're going to go in to people who are going to their court hearing, not having been adjudicated of any kind of guilt or innocence or anything like that, just simply attending their court hearing, because guess what? They want to try to do the process the proper way and then gets arrested. All of these things, if it were a Democrat, I've said it twice, I'll say it again, would not hold up. Politics are for old broke people. Old broke people, bro. I'm 30. If you think 30 is old, let me know. No, subverting government. It's in the BB bill. Talking about the big beautiful bill. You're talking about this policy right here. This executive order that was signed, by the way, I believe it was July 24th, is in the big beautiful bill. So they had to sign an executive order for this. I'd be happy to look at it. I don't have time right now to go through and look at it, but please provide it to me in the send it to me in Discord. I disagree. I don't understand why then he would sign an executive order for this. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. All right. Then we have this. DeSantis. Listen to this. This gets pretty crazy.
Hey, what's up? Hey, stop. Get out of here. 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 So.
Got him! Because that's exactly the case. Mind you, keep also Ron DeSantis is operating alligator Alcatraz. You know, that whole thing. Exactly. Texas leading the MAGA charge for big government control in your life. Exactly, Dan. I mean, I remember, guys, it was like less than 4 years ago, right? That the Republicans were complaining about having to wear a mask. Y'all remember that? I don't know. I remember that. It was only 4 years ago when Republicans were screaming, "This is authoritarianism. You can't tell me what to do with my mask. I ain't going to wear a mask." Remember, there was even some confrontations where they would pull it down. And there were some cases where they would even spit in people's faces over a mask. A mask. A Democrat would not be able to get away with a 32th of what's going on right now. They love Big Daddy government. Well, see, now I got the MAGA stirring. They're like, who said mask? You talking about them dirty masks? We don't deal with these masks around here. Now I got all of them going crazy. See, everybody's tripping out now about the masks. Alligator Alcatraz reminds me of when, standing there is actually some serious, like, racist undertones on that for sure. You just got to say mask, and the MAGA come in and they're like, who said mask? Do y'all remember? Actually, I remember this too. I forgot about it. Remember those vaccine cards that you had to carry around? I'll be careful on how much sex. I don't know how much on YouTube they'll freak out about it. But you remember those cards that you had to carry around? And MAGA was freaking the hell out about them. You remember that? They're like, this is authoritarian overtaking government. They're going through and trying to track us. Now look at them. Now they're all for big government. And they're for masks. They want ICE to wear masks. Anyways. So we also have some crazy stuff going on in Texas right now. The Texas Congress is trying to redraw the congressional districts. And I'm not going to read this entire thing. But basically, what's happening right now is that Texas Democrats understand that if they leave the state, they cannot hold quorum. Okay? They understand this. And I wish that Texas Democrats would do this. They're probably not going to do it because they're like any other Democrat. They tend to fall when it matters the most. But Texas Democrats, if they leave the state and they're voting on a bill, they can't hold quorum. They can't hold the vote because the entire Congress is not there. And so right now, that's the only way they can really do it. And so I was hopeful that when they went to California, this was a move for them to try to evade the vote. But seems like they're coming back. Also, we had this incident. Shout out to Isaiah Martin. Let's go ahead and watch this. This is actually really important. To give some context to this in the background, Isaiah Martin is running for Sheila Jackson Lee's former district. It's the 18th congressional district out of Houston. The same district, by the way, that Donald Trump has openly admitted to, that they're trying to gerrymander to gain seats. It's not a secret anymore. It's very out in the open. And so Isaiah Martin went there to voice his concern. Let's go ahead and give it a watch.
They will not. As a matter of fact, history might not remember you kindly for what you have done. They will not. As a matter of fact, history might not remember you at all because of what you have done. You need to have shame. History will not remember you for what you have done. It is a shame. It is horrific for what you have.
Jesus, get off of him!
It's horrific for what you have done. You should all be ashamed.
So that's Isaiah Martin. He was actually forcibly removed and arrested. I believe it was for resisting arrest. I kid you not. I believe that was what he was charged with. It's pretty bad. And not only that, he is still, this was posted at 1:49, and he had still not been released at 1:49. This event here, by the way, took place, as you see, last night. And as of almost 2 o'clock, he was not released. So it's pretty crazy what's going on. Waiting to hear from him as well. And see, I would actually love to have him on the show. So we'll see if we can get him on. But it's pretty crazy to see what happened. And again, this is what we're seeing from this administration. They don't like when opposition voices their concerns. So we'll see what happens. This is a developing story, but, you know. Then we're back to some videos here. So we'll watch these videos in a second. I'll address chat. He doesn't even know what the Constitution is about. He's so damn dumb. Christine, I don't know what you're referring to there, but as far as what the Constitution is about, I don't know if you're referring to me, Isaiah, or if you're referring to Donald Trump. Don't be stupid. Big difference between forced. Listen, we're not gonna. I didn't see. I mentioned 2020, and every MAGA wants to come in here and start debating the whole seat. I'm done talking about C-19. It is done, long gone, and over with. Okay. The only time I'll talk about it is in reference to J6, and I'll reference it in regards to inflation, but that's about it. I'm not here to argue the merits of it. It's done. It's over with. It happened. Only MAGA conservatives are like freaking out about it still to this day, which is crazy. Standing, lock him up as an evidence, L on that. But yeah, exactly. There's no, it's such a silly thing. And then now, again, going back to exactly Spartacus, now all of a sudden Texas repo is for authoritarianism. That's cool. No due process, guys. So how about the parents of the school board meetings? Did it matter how they were treated? Sure, if they were treated wrongfully, by all means, call it out. But in most cases, they were far more than above what Isaiah Martin was. I think there was like actual clashes. Like it was pretty bad. I'd seen some of them. Matter of fact, do I have any of those up? Let's go see if we can see some of these parent school board meetings. Some were pretty crazy. Some were pretty crazy. Parent school board. Let's see. Were there any kind of crazy things that happened here? Oh, that's not going to work. Parent school board meeting. Let's see. Devolves, maybe? I can't find it. If you have one, pull it up. Show me the instance and send it to me in Discord. And I'll take a look at it. I literally can't find any on X. But it's also been several years, so. Why are there so many TDS streamers on YouTube? TDS, you talking about MAGA? MAGA's got a lot of TDS. A lot of Trump derangements. Oh, Trump. Never mind. I can't use it. I know South Park used that euphemism, but let's just say it's another word for Richard. Trump-Richard syndrome. There you go. Exactly, Nancy. TDS is the people who still support the orange man. No dictator, no kings. Yeah, the no kings protests have been really, really awesome. I've been super excited to see how those have been turning out. I actually went and attended one myself, by the way, guys. Fun fact. I actually attended it with Isaiah Martin, so that was really fun. But I'll tell you, I looked like a Fed. I'm not even going to lie to you. I looked like a fucking Fed. Let me see if I can find the picture of it for you guys for that are just tuning in and have never seen me. Let me pull it up. I know I sent it to Wes before. Where is it? Let's send it here. Thank you so much, Beverly. I appreciate the like. Yeah, guys, while I'm looking for this, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, notification bell if you haven't already. That would greatly support the stream. If you wanted to support us even further and donate, you're more than welcome to. Obviously, it's not forced. You don't have to if you don't want to. But it helps us every dollar that we get. I'm going to try to put right back into the stream so that way we can get more equipment, maybe a nice camera, something like that, to make the stream more nice. I know I sent the picture to you, Wes, but I don't think I can find it. Oh, there it is. I'll show you guys this. This is hilarious. Go over here. Yo, Michael, thank you for the $1.99. I appreciate it. Let me see what the super chat was. Oh, just a donation. Thank you so much, Michael. I appreciate it. Really, really do. All right. Let me pull this up for you guys real quick. So you can see I looked really bad. Oops. Okay, I can't do that. Well, shoot. Hold on one second. Copy link. Here we go. Here's me. It's kind of blurry. You can't really see it. But like everybody around us was wearing like resist, no kings and everything. And here I am, dude. I'm looking the most sus. And I was waiting for somebody. I was waiting for somebody in the crowd to like call me out or something. I felt very uncomfortable. Okay. I was like, what is going on? But yeah, that was pretty fun. So we do have a king now, and you know who he is. Yeah. The king is apparently Trump. All right, let's go ahead and watch this. This is actually right as he landed in Scotland. Let's try to see if we can play this in order first. This is when he was taken off to Scotland. This was yesterday, so we'll play this one first in order. Vince and his CIA get up. I'm telling you, Spartacus, I did not mean to. I mean, I tried to dress like I was going out for dinner, okay? I didn't think about it. Everybody's wearing like cargo shorts and a t-shirt that says, you know, no kings and everything. And meanwhile, I'm wearing like the most, like all I'm missing, guys, all I was missing was like one of those like little badges or something. It was so bad. Can't donate to stupid. Okay, Les, I appreciate the kind, sincere comments. All right, so let's watch this. This is Donald Trump with Jerome Powell. Poor Jerome, man. He looks messed up, man. All right. Oh, hold on. Why is it audio's muted? Oh, there we go.
Well, thank you very much. We're looking at the construction, and we're with the chairman, as you know. Come on over. And we're just taking a look at what's happening. And
I apologize for all that like thumping. That's not me. That is totally the video.
tough construction job. They're building basements where they didn't exist. Or
oh, I forgot to catch this. So watch Jerome Powell, right? He kind of steps off to the side. Watch this.
We're looking at the construction.
See?
And
Jerome Powell walks off to the side because he's like, I don't want nothing to do with this. And then watch Trump.
The chairman, as you know. Come on over.
He's like, come on. I want to make an embarrassment of you.
Taking a look at what's happening. You know, it's a tough construction job. They're building basements where they didn't exist or expanding.
Bro's leg is bouncing under his chair. How to? My leg is not bouncing, okay? I can see why you would think that. I do get kind of some anxiety, you know, sometimes like that. Trump is our daddy. Whew, man, that sounds very sus.
A lot of very expensive work. There's no question about it. And Tim has been with me for a long time, and you're in charge of the committee.
Indeed. One of the reasons I wanted to see it, the overruns, the expensive one, to figure out why.
So we're taking a look, and it looks like it's about 3.1 billion. It went up a little bit.
I'm gonna slow this down. Watch. This is the moment, guys. This is the moment when Jerome Powell's like, no, sir, no.
Or a lot. So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody professional.
It just came out.
Our notes said it about 3.1 as well.
3.1.
And he looks like a fool. He looks like a fool when he's sitting here. He's like, yes, sir. It's $3.1 billion. Yes, sir. It's so embarrassing. Oops. So embarrassing. Okay.
This came from us?
Yes. I don't know who does that.
You're including the market renovation. You just added our entire company. You just added in a third building. That's a third building.
Well, no, but it's a building that's being built.
No, it was built 5 years ago.
Oh, it's a building that's being built. No, sir. It was built 5 years ago.
We finished Martin 5 years later.
It's part of the overall. So we're going to take a look. We're going to see
This is so awkward.
what's happening, and it's got a long way. Do you expect any more additional cost overruns?
Don't expect them. We're ready for them, but we have a little bit of a reserve that we may use, but no, we don't.
So he's saying we have a little bit of reserve. Let's be very clear here. What Powell is saying is we have a little bit of reserve left, okay? Meaning he's trying to throw a slight saying we're not overspending and we're not misusing the funds. I've never liked Powell as much as I do right now. It is great. I saw a better close-up shot. Yeah, there is some better close-up shots, Julian, but I think this is pretty big. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're probably seeing a smaller version of it, but yeah. So we're still paying for it, built 5 years ago? No, Jorge. What Powell is saying is that somehow, some way that Donald Trump got these numbers, they're completely wrong. What he's saying is Jerome Powell is saying we've got, like, I guess 2 buildings or whatever it is. I don't know how many buildings under this umbrella of a project. And somehow, some way, somewhere, someone threw in this extra building that was already built 5 years ago that wasn't part of this project. And so that's what Jerome Powell is saying. And the reason why this is important that Donald Trump, and this is why Jerome Powell is upset, is because Donald Trump is using this number to try to get at Jerome Powell misappropriating funds and misusing funds and overspending. This is something that Donald Trump is true social about all the time, is how Jerome Powell is not lowering rates, and Donald Trump is upset about it. And saying that, he's saying, I can't fire Jerome Powell. He's partially correct. He can't fire Jerome Powell without cause. So the cause is if he committed a crime, certainly that's a cause. And now he can fire him. Keep in mind, Jerome Powell loses his position in about 8 months. Also keep in mind that Donald Trump nominated Jerome Powell in his first administration. So, just as a heads up.
Expect to be finished in 2027. We're well along, as you can see.
Nice to take these off every once in a while when we're not under too much danger.
Okay. I didn't even catch this. First of all, Trump clearly has not worked a day in construction at all. First of all, I see lots of low-hanging wires. I see some heavy construction equipment. They're very much still in a construction zone. If this were OSHA that were to walk in there, they would have gotten upset at Trump. Just FYI, I've worked in construction before. This is a big no-no, but I digress.
So, any questions?
As a real estate developer, what would you do with a project manager who would be over budget?
Generally speaking, what would I do? I'd fire him.
Do you think this issue, Mr. President,
That was the creepiest thing he's ever said. What the hell was that? What the hell?
What would you do with a project manager who would be over budget?
Generally speaking, what would I do? I'd fire him.
do you think this issue, Mr. President, gives you cause to do that?
Well, I'm here just really with the chairman. He's showing us around, showing us the work. And so I don't want to get that. I don't want to be personal. I just would like to see it get finished. And in many ways, it's too bad it started. But it did start. And it's been under construction for a long time. It's going to be a real long time. Because it looks like it's got a long way to go.
Sir, Mr. President, are there things the chairman can say to you today that would make you back off some of the earlier criticism?
Well, I'd love him to lower interest rates. Other than that,
Powell looks so uncomfortable here. Just look at this face. I feel bad for Powell, okay? I feel extremely bad for Powell. Poor Powell was like, man, I really didn't want to be here.
what can I tell you? The country is doing really well. I just briefed the chairman of the deal we made with Japan.
I was going to say too, Al, it's like Powell is not your friend and you just slapped the crap out of him. Like, I'm just saying.
Is putting up $550 billion in order to lower their tariffs a little bit. That way they have a little bit lower tariff. And they also opened their country to free trade, which
They actually didn't. So one of the things that I read too about Japan, by the way, is that they tend to favor smaller cars. So even if they open it up to American auto manufacturers, they're not going to import any of those automobiles. Because again, Japan, for whatever reason, that market prefers smaller cars, which our current auto manufacturers do not make. Second of all, our auto manufacturers here in the United States do not assemble the entire car. They only assemble a part of the car. There is not a fully assembled, as far as I understand, fully assembled car maker here in the United States.
nobody thought was even a possibility. And we get a zero tariff in the free trade. We don't pay tariffs, and they're going to pay 15% on everything they send into our.
Notice how he said they're going to pay 15%. No, it's you, the American consumer who is watching this, that is going to have to pay for that 15%. It's actually a twisted deal. there's 0% for imports into Japan, but we still have to pay a 15%. That's not how that works. That's not how it should work. Japan is making off like crazy right now.
Our country, so it's great. But they put up, as you could call it, seed money. Let's call it seed money. You could call it anything you want, but it's it's a total of $550 billion. So nobody thought any of that was possible, and it's wonderful. And we're doing pretty well with the European Union, likewise, and we have some others. They're all really big, and our country's going to make a lot of money. We would be helped if interest rates would come down, but we're going to see how the board rules on that soon. I'd love.
Does anybody else get the feeling of like some intimidation here? Like this is typical Donald Trump, right? Like Donald Trump wants to bring Jerome Powell in. He wants to put some pressure on Jerome Powell, thinking he's going to get his way. This is crazy to me. All right, before we get on the next video, I want to go ahead and read some of the chat. Y'all been going like crazy. What Trump loves to do more than anything is screw people over. It's the only thing that makes him feel he doesn't feel alive. He just knows. Yeah. I mean, that's the whole thing is cruelty is the kind of, that is the game. And what Donald Trump has done is he knows that he can pressure people. This is, by the way, the same reason why he tried to pressure the Israeli judicial system to try to essentially drop everything against Netanyahu. It's the same reason, by the way, that he also went, I believe it was Brazil? I think it was Brazil with Bolsonaro, right? And they were trying to drop the charges against him. Trump thinks that his voice and his opinion holds weight because everyone around him will never tell him no. It's insane. Do you agree with the Federal Reserve loaning us money with high interest? Well, again, if we're having a economic time or economic prosperity and everything else like that, sure, you'd want to tamper it down with having low interest rate or high interest rates. But if it's slow and the economy is slow, yeah, you might want to or slow. Damn it, I messed my mind up. It's a little late, but you get what I'm saying. Gas is $2.99 in Wisconsin. Yeah, y'all know what I'm trying to say. There are times where I guess you could have higher interest rates, and they're certainly needed. There's times where you'd want lower interest rates. All right. But it needs to be at a balance, and this is why the Federal Reserve is an independent federal agency, right? The Federal Reserve, is an independent agency. It's not to operate by any kind of political pressures. Thank you, Steve. I've always twist it up sometimes. I get in my head, and I kind of move things around. Thank you. Either in Brazil, 40% tariffs if they didn't release the fellow coup. Exactly. That was crazy, right, Julian? That's how Donald Trump operates. It's like this mob mentality of his, right? We got another video here. This is before he left for Scotland. This one's pretty lengthy. Trump must want stagflation. Well, we're kind of heading that way already, right? Employment has already kind of stagnated a little bit. We're already seeing the fact that GDP is probably going to go decline here in the next quarter. Ooh, that thunder was really close. And then we're also seeing inflation rise. So employment is declining somewhat. It's not really declining, I say, but in the areas where it matters, it certainly is. Yes, tourism down. No one's to come here. Yeah, I just read a stat actually about Las Vegas. They said Las Vegas right now is seeing like 12% tourism numbers down from the previous month, on top of like 14 from the previous month. So it's been pretty crazy. King, if you don't stop spamming that, I'm just going to go ahead and mute you. I don't have any idea what you're talking about. No one wants to come to the police state. Yeah, pretty much. Because that's the whole thing, right? How to. Is that what's going on right now is if, he ends up getting, if you come here, you might get deported, even though you're here on a tourist visa, right? And you may not get deported if you're lucky. You might not get, if you're unlucky, you might not get deported to Canada. You might get deported to another country that isn't even Canada. Yeah, that's happening too. They're deporting people to, I can't remember the name of the African country. It's an African country that are nationals of Vietnam and Laos. And I think, goodness gracious, Cuba. They're deporting them there. The native language there is like Swasti or something like that. So, yeah, you're lucky if you get deported back to your home country. Those German tourist girls got thrown in detention for a week. I didn't hear about that, Julian, but it wouldn't surprise me. Manufacturing jobs may or may not come back, but if they do come back, they'll be automated. They've already said they'll be automated. That means only 50 to 100 people will be hired. Yeah, L2, that's the other thing too, right? Is that they keep saying, oh, bring your jobs back. Oh, while we're at it, we're going to increase our AI manufacturing. You can't have both, right? It's the same thing that we're seeing with some of the farmers right now. They're deporting a lot of the farm workers. And guess what? Now they're replacing them with robots, robot pickers. I actually saw it. It was pretty crazy. It was a robot that goes by and has his little tentacle arms. They snip, snip, drop it in a bucket. Snip, snip, drop it in a bucket. It's pretty crazy stuff. But the thing about it is that the other side of that is that I don't think that it's gotten affordable just yet. They are going that way by all means. Farming is automated. It's automated to some extent. Oh, shoot. I got to play the volume. All right. Let's give this a watch. Okay. Hey, before we watch this video, guys, I know I've been bugging you guys about this, but please, if you haven't already, you already know what I'm about to say. Do me a solid free favor. You don't have to support us anything else other than hitting that like, subscribe, notification bell. Every time I go live, you'll get notified. We stream Wednesdays and Fridays at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Next week, I'm going to try next week, okay? We are going to do a TikTok live, possibly Monday or Tuesday. I have not confirmed when, but I want to do TikTok lives. The reason why I want to do that, it's not going to be here on YouTube. It will be on TikTok, so that's the exclusive. If you want to see that on Monday or Tuesday, you want to have a TikTok account, make sure you're following me there as well. And we're going to do some debates. So if you like debate content and everything else like that, I think next week I've got a guest lined up, a wonderful guest, and I'll even say his name. He has no problem with me saying it. It's going to be Sansol. I'm working on, if you know who Sansol is, great. He's going to be on the show next week, or should be. If he's not, then we'll schedule, have a more solid date. But I think he's coming on next week. So it's going to be really fun. We're going to have a good topic, talk and everything else. And then we might even do a call-in stream on Friday. Now that I've got all the advertisements out of the way, let's get to the video.
Good morning, how are you? Can we ask you about the lawsuits in the DOJ file?
These young people, they're too much winning. Too much winning, sir, they know it. And it is a lot of winning. We had the best 6 months ever. We're now heading to Scotland. I'm meeting with the Prime Minister of UK. Some of you are going, I guess, and a lot of you aren't. Are you going? Huh? Well, you got to get moving. That's a good one. That's going to be a good one. So we have great numbers we just announced.
Ha ha ha, you are a shill for business. It's wild. Okay, how to? Sorry, I don't have a TikTok, but have fun. TikTok is wild. Yeah, Spartacus. TikTok is pretty wild. You got to watch it too. There's a reason why a lot of big name creators are going on TikTok right now and trying to. The problem is TikTok is full of good faith normies. Okay, that's the reason why everybody's going on TikTok. I've experienced it. I've actually enjoyed going on those debates because I'm not worried that somebody's clout chasing. I'm not worried about somebody being a gotcha. But the problem is that a lot of those good faith normies don't realize they're like literally people like that go about their 9 to 5, jump on right after they get done with work and they get off, right? So the problem with that is that it opens it up to people like, sharks. I'm going to call it like it is. Content creator sharks that are going after them. So
to go over it because you've seen it, but we have great economic numbers. The deal with Japan is amazing. They've given us $550 billion, and we have totally open access into Japan. Those numbers are great. I mean, the kids actually just said very, very cute, actually. I walked up, they said, sir, there's too much winning. They picked up on a little routine, Go ahead.
Mr. Griffin, can I ask you about the DOJ lawsuit that was filed yesterday against New York City Mayor Adams? In the lawsuit, they named the CBP officer in the lawsuit either was shot. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's...
All right, I'm not going to lie. The helicopter thing is kind of annoying me. Let me know in the chat if the helicopter's annoying you, and then we can just go to the next video. It's kind of like whistling really bad.
DOJ going against New York, but we're going against a lot of other places, too. We want to bring safety to our cities, but that's going to be a pretty routine filing with other cities, too. As you know, we've started...
Paul, chill out on all the spamming, okay? And second of all, Paul, that is where I draw the line. So we're going to hide the user on this channel for now. Or I'll put you in timeout for 24 hours until you can learn your lesson. And the next time you come back, let me know. How does all you really said is you're a failure? Yes, Trump's approval rating is lower than it was when he left office after his first debacle. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Open borders. So yeah, ignore the open border stuff, guys. I'm especially not for open borders. But I am for humane treatment of our undocumented migrants. He slips cover-up is in plain sight. Well, yeah. I mean, the cover-up is pretty clear, right, Brooke? Trump does it on purpose with helicopter noise? Yeah, well, Spartacus, I think the problem is that he comes out and addresses the media, and I'm pretty certain I don't know, but I'm pretty certain the helicopter has to warm up and stuff like that. At least that's how I know it is when I go traveling on airplanes. So airplanes usually sit there and they warm up. I don't know the purpose, but it certainly feels like they have to warm up. They are humanely treated. You guys are insane. I see all the MAGA have come in here and they're going crazy.
Numerous lawsuits with other cities. We want to bring safety. We've got to get the criminals out, and we're doing it in record numbers. Yeah, Gaza, they pulled out of Gaza. They pulled out in terms of negotiating. It was too bad. Hamas didn't really want to make a deal. I think they want to die, and it's very, very bad.
Yeah, this is kind of, again, I don't really dabble in the Palestinian Gaza or Israel-Gaza conflict stuff too much. But Donald Trump has been and this is the crazy thing about it to me, is when we talk about the left and how they don't really coalesce and they don't really get together. By the way, I did see some of that with the Live and Learn podcast, where there was arguments about what they should have, right, in terms of coalition on the left. But this is the biggest issue, is you've seen people who didn't vote for Kamala Harris and may have voted either third party or didn't vote. And we're seeing some of that consequence play out now. Sure, Kamala Harris was not really for what you may agree with, right? She was probably not the best candidate if you were pro-Gaza. But the reality is now you've got Trump, who is patently against Gaza because of the fact, and the vote was only off by 1.5%. See what I'm saying? So going down the Democrat rabbit hole, the liberal rabbit hole is literally the most profitable thing in the U.S. right now. No, I can tell you it's not. I'm happy to show you my earnings. It's literally, I have been doing TikTok at least, and I say TikTok loosely, in terms of posting videos, going on lives and everything else. I want to tell you on TikTok, I might have made at most $20. Here on YouTube, it's been a little bit off and on, and I only just a couple of weeks ago got fully monetized. So that one's still kind of trickling in. But even then, guys, I've probably made maybe $10. It's not a whole lot. Now, if you guys want to support your boy, you're more than welcome to. Okay, I'm just saying. But I'm just saying, to suggest that the profit is on the left is hilarious. The profit is on the right 110% through and through. Okay, this is one of the reasons why you see a lot of the right wingers having a lot of loose cash, and you see a lot of the sponsors going their way more so than anything. Alligator Alcatraz is far from humane. Absolutely, Brina. It is far from humane. It is insane to see just how inhumane it is. I think they said they're like massive. The reports coming out from it are like massive mosquitoes. They don't have adequate food. It's disgusting. There's even some flooding because it's not properly sealed. It's pretty bad. Compare it to the prison system as daycare. No, it's not. I'm telling you this from first-hand experience. I'll let you decide on which way that is. Which one sounds more hardcore. I'm telling you, it's not. There are prison systems out there that are far and above, way better than what's going on in Alligator Alcatraz. In fact, the federal prison system is far better than even just regular prison systems, state prison systems. The federal prison system, the Fed has like crazy. They got like air-conditioned prisons. They've got like tennis courts, I've heard, pools and crazy. I've heard crazy stories about the Fed. It's insane. Trump is offering island tours to those who donate at least $1 billion to his president. I have no idea where you're getting that from, Vice Chairman. I wouldn't be surprising, but I don't know where you're getting that from. The smuggling people in. Sure, they do. But I don't know what you're going with that, Jorge. Trump using Obama detainment camps makes liberals mad. Using Obama detainment camps makes... Okay, first of all, Alligator Alcatraz was not built under Obama. So I don't know what you're talking about. They have a bunch of shorts on YouTube showing food quality. Who's got YouTube shorts? Are we talking about like the federal government putting out videos? I don't trust anything like that. Notice how Trump's daughter has distanced herself from. Yeah, I have noticed that, Nathan, as well as if you see Melania Trump isn't seen as much with Donald Trump unless it's like a super public event.
Got to be to a point where you're going to have to finish the job. They really,
This whistling is going to get on my nerves. So let's go back here and we'll just play this one. It's 8 minutes long anyways. I'm going to play this one. This is a little bit better.
Hello, everybody. You know our ambassador to Scotland, and it's great to be in Scotland. We are going to be meeting with the Prime.
Obama started the cage for immigrants. You know what's funny to me is that you're pearl clutching about the cages, but yet, so then my question would be, were you for those cages? This is the funny thing too. I do this on TikTok all the time. When someone sits there and shows like, they come back to Obama, I go, just out of curiosity, who did you vote for in 2012? And I tell you what, it's amazing to see just how many Republicans all of a sudden said that they supported Obama. It's amazing to see that. When we all know damn good and well they didn't, and they were probably upset about his tan suit.
Prime Minister, I guess tomorrow, a little bit tomorrow and the next day. And we're going to do some great things. Do you have any questions?
On Sunday to discuss EU
What?
trade deals. Are you meeting with Ursula von der Leyen?
I'll be meeting with the EU on Sunday, and we'll be working on a deal. We'll see if we make a deal. Ursula will be here.
Why didn't Biden release the files? So Biden in and of himself didn't release the files for a couple of reasons. One, Ghislaine Maxwell was still going through her appeals process, still going through her actual court proceedings. We also saw, by the way, thousands of files get released under Biden through the justice system. So the idea that Biden and Democrats did nothing is wrong. And secondly, it begs the question, why didn't Republicans vote to release the files? It's probably for the same reason that Republicans didn't vote for the Langley bill. Or Langford bill. Sorry, not Langley. Langford bill.
Highly respected woman, so we look forward to that. That'll be good.
Bullshit that ended in 2022. All right, here you go. Let's pull this up. Ghislaine Maxwell, 2024. I believe it was actually at the end of 2024. She is serving. Yes, jury convicted her in 2021, which is correct. There was something. Let me pull it up here. Hold on. Let me pull up the files here. January 2024 DOJ, or not DOJ, judge release file. Let's see, Epstein. Let's see. U.S. judge begins to release Epstein documents. Give me 1 second. Sure. This is from January 4th of 2024. The initial tranche includes 40 previously undisclosed documents with almost 1,000 pages of depositions and statements. What was included in the documents, who was named. Let me see here. New York judge on Wednesday began to unseal a tranche of documents containing identities of people linked to Jeffrey Epstein, the financier. Speculation had been rife with recent rings that a judge was about to release a list of clients who are alleged conspirators of Epstein. And on Wednesday, I believe it was she was working her way through her appeals. Let me see. Ghislaine Maxwell. Let me pull up her appeals because I think it was her appeals that I was looking at. Appeals 2024. What is this? July 14th. Yes. I think this is it right here. This is the Court of Appeals. This is the Supreme Court. This was July 14th of 2025. This isn't it. Where is it? That's not it. Oh, right here. November 25th, 2024. U.S. Appeals Court November 25th of 2024. U.S. Appeals Court won't revisit Ghislaine Maxwell's conviction. So this had been working its way through the appeals court all the way up through 2024 as well. So again, the idea, why he didn't release it. Again, there were still thousands of documents that were released under his administration. And again, it goes back to why didn't Republicans vote for it? We all know why. So.
What media executives are you meeting with while you're here? We'll have numerous executives that we're meeting with. We're going to be meeting with a lot of people. A lot of people will be staying at Turnberry, and then we're going to Aberdeen, which is the oil capital of Europe, actually.
Mr. President, can you explain what is missing in the UK deal that you have to work out?
Nothing. I think it's more of a celebration.
What was the date before the appeals court? Are you talking about the releasing of documents? The documents that were released were January 4th of 2024. A judge released thousands of Epstein documents. So that's what that was. Give me 1 second. Pull it back up.
And then a workout. It's a great deal for both.
What happened in 90 deals in 90 days? It never amounted to anything. There's been maybe 5 deals if you're being generous.
And we're going to have
Ghislaine Maxwell, Jacob.
a meeting on other things other than the deal. The deal is concluded.
So on Gaza,
The deal is concluded. Well, where's the paper?
French President Emmanuel Macron just said that France will officially recognize the Palestinian state. What's your comment on
Well, that's what he does. I mean, that's fine if he does that. That's up to him. It's not up to me. I'm with the United States. I'm not with France.
Salvatore, I bid you all a good night, but all of you can. Okay, well then you want to play that game? Well, you can just be booted. There you go. Bye.
And about the humanitarian situation in Gaza, we hear very dire warnings about
I think it's terrible what happened with Hamas. They
Concepts of a
tapped
deal.
everybody along, and we'll see what happens.
That's it.
We'll see what response Israel has to that. But it's getting to be that time.
On the EU deal, you said there's a 50-50 chance of a deal.
2023, Marsha Blackburn, one of the flight logs released, but Illinois Democrat Dick Durbin blocked the release. Let me see if that's the case. Let me see. 2023, Marsha Blackburn. Isn't she a Republican? I don't remember. I always forget. Marsha Blackburn, Epstein files. So Blackburn requests FBI Director Patel release complete unredacted Epstein records. This was February 24th of 2025. I don't know about, she's a Republican. That's what I thought. I don't see anything from 2023. Hold on, let me see. And I certainly don't see anything to suggest that she was blocked by Dick Durbin. Oh, here we go. November 10th of 2023. This is the New York Post, so take what you will for it. Senator Marsha Blackburn demands subpoena. Oh my gosh. I have an ad blocker, and then of course you can't really block an ad for all this crap because then it gets upset. Give me a second here. Hold on. What the hell? All right. Oh crap. Come on. There we go. All right. Marsha Blackburn called on the Senate Judiciary Committee Thursday to issue a subpoena against the estate of Jeffrey Epstein with the goal of obtaining a list of passengers that traveled aboard the infamous plane. But that was released. That flight log was released. I don't remember when, but it was released. It might have been the first. Let me see. Epstein flight logs released. I feel like it was under Biden, wasn't it? Where was it? Let me pull up 2024. I've been meaning to look into this stuff, but let me see. I know what you're saying, Buzz. I know what you're saying. You're saying that Dick Durbin blocked it. But what I'm saying is that I'm trying to find, because I remember some of the files were already released under Biden, but I'm trying to figure out. Oh, here we go. I think it's under this one. Oh, come on. Problem is the judge released 1,000 documents, and I'm almost positive that those were released as well. That's what that was in there. I'm pretty certain. Let me see here. This is the New York Post. I'm spending way too much time on this than I want to. I just want to watch the video. Oh, here we go. Here we go. It's right here. This is from December of 2024. And I just, this is from the New York Post. It says Clinton took flights on Epstein's private jet on trips. For the Clinton Foundation, he wrote that they only discussed politics and economics. What else? There's other ones in here for flight. Give me a second. Oh, never mind. This is for something else. So, yeah, I mean, I think the flight logs were released under him. I'm not sure, though. Sotomayor staff in Durbin blocked it. Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know. I mean, again, if sure, Democrats may have blocked it on that end, and that would not be good. But what I would also say in that regard is, again, sure, Marsha Blackburn did that. Commendable, I suppose. It was 2023. Why didn't she continue with it? Do we have anything more recent than that? Kudos, I suppose. I know she'd been pretty consistent with it. Trump has released the files. Biden blocked the Senate. Trump is releasing the files. What files? What files is Trump releasing? He's released one stack that, from my understanding, was already released. I'm trying to find it where it was, but I'm in the middle of streaming. What about the Prince of UK? He's been to Epstein Island. Ask him. Well, again, the problem is I don't care what party. This does not concern any party. If anyone is blocking the release of these files, yeah, it's probably not good. He blocks subpoenaing the staff. Oh, okay, I get what you're saying, Dan Freeze. So Marsha Blackburn didn't actually subpoena for the file. She subpoenaed the staff. Gotcha. Yeah. Then okay, that makes sense. Fact remains, the grand jury testimony is going to stay sealed to protect the names that are innocent. Both Dems and Republicans are in that testimony. There isn't going to be much else. They're absolutely like the problem is though with that, Steve, is first of all, the grand jury testimony is not what we want. We don't want testimony from Ghislaine Maxwell. What we want are the files, right? That if there is like pictures, for example, taken of Epstein's island, release those. If there is any kind of, I don't know, flight logs, release those. I'm just giving examples, right? Obviously the flight logs have already been released. But you get what I'm saying.
With the European Union, I think we have a good 50-50 chance. That's a lot.
What are the sticking points?
Well, I don't want to tell you what the sticking points are, but the sticking points are.
L with the winning comment. Right there is the winning comment. You surely cannot call yourself a man if you're going to refer to another fully grown man to whom you are not related as your daddy. Makes you sound weak, and if you don't mind the implication. Exactly. Release the client list. Yeah, that too, Dan Fries. Release that. If there's a victim in it, which y'all have. See, here's the thing. The argument is well, there's victims. Okay, redact the victims. You should have the name of those victims. Release it.
Having to do with maybe 20 different things. You don't want to listen to all of them. Yes.
What advice are you going to have for our Prime Minister?
That can also be part of the grand jury evidence, which would be sealed. What? Well, we don't know. They're not releasing any of it. They can tell us that it was on the grand jury testimony. I mean, I probably wouldn't take that as an acceptable answer, but I suppose it could be if it would implicate it. But you would have to show us some kind of an evidence. Do your best effort, faith effort, to release something. If for example, if pictures were taken and it was put into evidence in some form or another, there's got to be some kind of a documentation, evidentiary documentation to suggest that it was used in the grand jury testimony, and then you can release it and say this was used in the grand jury testimony. There you go. Simple as that. But they're not going to. They're not going to.
About free speech. It's very important for people here.
Well, it is, but I like.
Teabags, they were not missing. The 300,000 children did not go missing. They were under not DHSS. What is it? They basically went to a sponsor and they did not receive responses. They are not missing. They know where they're at. They just did not show up for their court date. Breaking exclusive. Trump goes, thermonuclear announces plan to release the real Epstein list and implicates top Democrats and corporate leaders in response to their attempt to falsely link him. Is this like brand new or are you just like memeing right now? Google, because your name is Google sucks. I'm going to bite the bait on it though. I don't see anything in it. Yeah, I don't see anything on it. Spartacus, the point is that he would be the reason. Where does Spartacus say? If Trump, oh, yeah, we're talking back and forth. Okay. Many victims were paid a ton of money to be quiet. Victims should be protected. Sure, absolutely, Julie. They should be protected. I'm not arguing that we should expose victims. I'm asking that we expose who was associated with Epstein. Simple as that. Went in Trump's pocket. All right, let's keep going.
Prime Minister. He's slightly more liberal than I am, as you've probably heard. But he's a good man. He got a trade deal done. And, they've been working on this deal for 12 years. He got it done. It's a good deal. It's a good deal for the UK. So, no, I'll be seeing him tomorrow, I guess, tomorrow evening. And this is our wonderful ambassador, He's doing a good job. He's a very, very successful man. He'll be doing a good job.
It's not something you're going to offer British Prime Minister.
The best course anywhere in the world is Turnberry. The players all want to be at Turnberry. Everybody wants to be at Turnberry, so we'll see how that works out.
But the infrastructure needs to be improved.
The infrastructure in the course is good. In fact, the Royal and Ancient, I don't know if you're aware of this, they spent a lot of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars, or probably into the millions of dollars.
Y'all, please, I understand, and I'm sure some of you guys are trolling. Please chill out on the language. It has to be TOS appropriate. I don't want to have to put any of you guys in timeout because I understand what your sentiment is if you are being authentic. Please, this is my final warning, okay? While we're at it, since we have a pause, please, guys, if you have not already done so, please hit that like, subscribe, notification bell. It will push us further into the algorithm. Other than that, guys, let me go ahead and get this going here. Hold on one second. Let me keep playing this.
They've laid all the wire for television and for electricity under the holes of Turnberry. so that when the Open gets there, they have it all done. They paid for that.
But we're talking about roads, the railway station, that sort of thing. That seems like a bigger
I don't know
thing.
what all I can tell you is that it would be the best place anywhere in your country to have. There's no place like it. There's no place like Turnberry. It's the best, probably the best course in the world, and I would say Aberdeen is right up there also. Aberdeen's great. And while we're here, I'll be with my son, and he's going to cut a ribbon for the second course in Aberdeen, which is just about equal to the first. I mean, it's going to be a battle. You know, it's, as you know, they're very highly rated, and the second course is great. Sean Connery helped get me the permits. If it weren't for Sean Connery, we wouldn't have those great courses.
Were you briefed on your name appearing in the Epstein files ever?
No, I was never.
What are you hoping Todd Blanche interviewing Ghislaine Maxwell? What are you hoping that they get out of that?
I really have really nothing to say about it. She is being talked to by a very smart man, by a very good man, Todd Blanche. And I don't know anything about the conversation. I haven't really been following it. A lot of people are asking me about pardons. Obviously, this is no time to be talking about pardons. But a lot of people have asked about pardons. This is just not a time to be talking about pardons. Todd will come back with whatever he's got. You're making a very big thing over something that's not a big thing. You should be talking about, if you're going to talk about that, talk about Clinton, talk about the former president of Harvard, talk about all of his friends, talk about the hedge fund guys that were with him all the time. Don't talk about Trump. What you should be talking about is the fact that we have the greatest 6 months in the history of a presidency, according to a lot of people.
No, not according to anybody. This administration has been an absolute freaking disaster of an administration. The past 6 months, we've seen nothing but record inflation. We've seen nothing but record, well, not record inflation. I'm sorry. Take that back. We've seen inflation. We're starting to see the GDP decline. We're seeing our presence on the world stage absolutely collapse. We're seeing nothing but a deranged old man who can't do nothing but wear orange makeup all day long. It's an abomination. As they say in Scotland, beat it, you What's going on, Perry? Welcome in, everybody. You're absolutely right, dude. Yeah, lie, delusional. Oh, I'm so delusional, guys.
And we had an amazing 6 months, and this is sort of an example of it. Now we're meeting with the European Union, we're also meeting with, as you know...
Yeah, Donald Trump said he made a deal with the European Union, but the problem is that he has not actually released any kind of, like, paper... No, as a matter of fact, a lot of the stuff he's done, I think even like the India and Pakistan or whatever, he didn't release any kind of documentation to support that there was an actual deal made. So this is kind of the problem we're having. Is the same thing with the EU. We don't really know what kind of deal was made. And again, we're somehow like exporting a ton of beef, even though we're going through a beef shortage, which is causing beef prices to go through the roof.
UK, Prime Minister, and I look forward to that. So we're meeting in terms of a deal. We're meeting with the European Union. That would be actually the biggest deal of them all if we make it.
Did you ask House Republican leaders to not vote on the resolution at all?
I was never involved in that. I'm focused on making deals. I'm not focused on conspiracy theories that you are. And I watch you people. It's so sad. You want to talk about the success of our country instead of this nonsense you talk about over and over again.
You've done an amazing job on illegal migration. A lot of people here are very worried about the situation. Record numbers.
Well, I'd say two things to Europe. Stop the windmills. You're ruining your countries.
Stop the windmills. The windmills, they're ruining the country. He has an obsession with windmills. This is the thing about Donald Trump, is I'm almost positive the older he gets, the more limited his vocabulary gets. Like, he doesn't actually have, like, he like has this loop in his head where he's like, migrants, insane asylums, windmills. It's like the repetitive thing over and over and over again. Big deals. It's insane. Why did Pambani tell him he was in the Epstein files? Yeah, that's a good point, Swin, right? He's like, oh, no, I wasn't in the files, right? And then all of a sudden now, but wait, we have the Wall Street Journal reporting that he is in the files. That's what Pambani was doing, right? Wall Street Journal reported that Pambani told him he was in the files. And that's when everything went crazy. Yeah, he loops a lot. Yeah, he's 100% obsessed with windmills. I don't get it. And he's like, where do we store the where do we store the energy? It's called a battery. Stored in a battery. Eagles and birds. It's killing eagles and birds, guys. Oh.
I really mean it. It's so sad. You fly over and you see these windmills all over the place, ruining your beautiful fields and valleys and killing your birds. And if they're stuck in the ocean, ruining your oceans. Stop the windmills. And I mean, there's a couple of things I could say, but on immigration, you better get your act together.
The only people for all the MAGA who are going nuts in the chat right now, just know that TDS is all of you guys. Oh, the MAGA. You guys are deranged by Trump. You're enthralled by Trump's, dare I say, enigma or lack thereof. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, South Park reference.
But you're not going to have Europe anymore. You got to get your act together. And we, you know, as
And I'm just asking, did anybody in chat see that South Park episode? I thought it was, I didn't watch the entire thing. I watched clips of it, and boy, got to Trump's ego. Boy, did it go to his ego. It was hilarious. Shut up, you jerk. He is demonstrating collaboration. It's when dementia patients storytell and try to fit things together. Appear like, yeah, Tammy. So that's the thing about it, right? I've brought this up before, and people are like, "Oh, cussing is a sign of dementia." It is when someone doesn't normally cuss, and now all of a sudden they start cussing in really random parts of conversations, which Trump does now, by the way. That's a sign of dementia. But nobody's like, everybody's memeing on me. They're like, "Oh, it's cussing, really?" Yes. Look it up.
You know, last month we had nobody entering our country. Nobody. Shut it down. And we took out a lot of bad people that got there with Biden. Biden was a total stiff. And what he allowed to happen, but you're allowing it to happen to your countries. And you got to stop this horrible invasion that's happening to Europe.
Garal said, "What's with these Trump bots repeating the same thing over and over?" Garal, I have no idea. It's crazy to me. They've come in here and just gone full-blown crazy. And this has been happening for like the past 2 weeks. I don't know. I don't care. They're contributing to the viewer count. They want us to hit the like, subscribe, notification bell. It pushes us further into the algorithm. So be it. But all they're doing is making my voice much larger. So by all means. Where were you while Biden was blathering? Where were you while Biden was blathering all over the place? Where are you now with Donald Trump? I didn't vote for Biden. I already told you guys, okay? This is the first year I ever voted for a Democrat. Unfortunately, I voted for Trump in 2020, and I wish I could take it back. I didn't vote for Biden. But I also think that Biden had really great economic policies. Don't get it twisted. I think Joe Biden had great economic policies. And I think that it's bore out, right? We saw the CHIPS Act. We saw the Infrastructure Act. All of that. The Inflation Reduction Act and the American Rescue Plan. He was a champion in Congress. I don't deny the fact that he is old. I don't think you're going to find any Democrat, frankly, who's going to sit there and try to defend Biden's old age. So just as an FYI. You are suffering from a severe case of TDS. You guys are hilarious. Thank you so much for the views, though. I appreciate the views in here, guys. You want to come in here and throw the views up, by all means, go ahead and do it. Trump is still more in his right mind than Biden was at age 30. You're kidding. You think Trump is in his right mind? By the way, this is all coming from the same MAGA that I guess supposedly didn't hear that Trump was having some health issues, which is why he was having cankles, because his legs were swollen. They hid that from the American people too, because allegedly for it to get to the stage that it was at for swelling, it's stage 3, which means that he had it for a long time. FYI. Yeah, Dan Fries, spammers suck. It's kind of the double-edged sword, right, Dan? It's like the ones who are in here are authentic, kind of get drowned out by some of the spammers. There's only so much you can do, especially streaming on YouTube Shorts. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, it's kind of, but at the same time, they're coming in here and they're contributing via viewership. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I don't like having the spammers in here, but at the same time, they're helping. So try to kick them as best we can, right? Just try to keep it in line as long as they keep it in line. I don't know which one's spammers and which ones are not, to be quite frank with you. It's crazy. Didn't they let him know about his health stuff compared to when Biden and them hit his health for years? Didn't they let them know about his health stuff compared to when Biden and them hit his health for years? Probably valid. I think they probably should have let them know about it. So, you know. Ian, story is a waste of space. The view numbers are great tonight. Yeah, Steve, like I said, they're great, and I appreciate everybody that's in here. And again, if you want to hit that like, subscribe, notification bell, it would absolutely help out. We're going to continue watching this. I think we got one more to watch. The problem is that we are monetized now, so I have to watch very carefully on which videos we cover, right? So I don't know of any other ones that we had. We can always go. What I usually do is, for anyone who's unaware, I usually go to the White House YouTube page and I'll try to find some videos from when Trump was speaking. There was this one here. This was when he was speaking to outside of the Federal Reserve. We can watch this. The interesting thing to note here is that I don't see Powell. We'll go ahead and play this real quick. So I don't see Powell, and he was here, and now he's gone. So I don't know. Maybe he's off to the side.
Very good, actually, to be back on a construction site. You know.
The funny thing about this, though, is watch. So he's standing over here, but the podium is over here. He hasn't. Oh, you guys may or may not be able to see it. You should be able to see it on the shorts. You can see it over here, and he's not going over there and standing by it. He's standing off in space.
Remember, not so long ago, we rebuilt the old post office into the Trump Hotel, and we sold it to Waldorf Astoria.
Wait. What did you just say, Trump? Hold on.
Very much, everybody, and it feels very good.
Oh, by the way, they took a picture and posted on Twitter. I think it's this exact staircase here of Trump coming down the staircase and saying, "This is our strong leader that we have." It's like, I don't know about all that. Don't know about all that.
Actually, to be back on a construction site, you know.
Thank you, Max, for the subscription.
We rebuilt the old post office into the Trump Hotel, and we sold it to Waldorf Astoria.
So he bought the post office. I don't know if he bought it from the government or what.
And it was a great success, and we had great luck with the building. We did a good job. We built it quickly and relatively inexpensively for about $200 million. And that was a big hotel.
$200 million is inexpensive. I don't know about all that, bro. $200 million is a lot of money. Just goes to show how little Trump values money.
Big project. But we looked around, and Tim Scott's here someplace. You saw what we saw. And the big thing is to get it done, they have to get it done, they have to get it finished. And very importantly, we have to get interest rates lowered in our country. Our country is the hottest in the world right now, but the one section, people are...
I don't know what he's saying. It's hilarious, man. I see him talk, but I don't see anything actually being said or hear anything.
Pretty much unable to buy housing because the interest rates are too high. We have no inflation. We have a lot of cash.
Wait. I want you to listen to what he just said because this is super important.
Interest rates lowered in our country. Our country is the hottest in the world right now, but the one section, people are pretty much unable to buy housing.
People are unable to buy housing. Let's go over that for a second. Why might people be unable to afford housing? Well, they might be unable to afford housing because of the fact that we have tariffs on Canada and Canadian lumber. And furthermore, we have a lot of undocumented migrants that are being deported and not showing up for work because they are terrified of being deported. So maybe that's why, not to mention the inflation being a considerable issue. There's that as well. So yeah, our housing is going on, and it's not due to these due to the rate like he is suggesting. Again, trying to pressure Jerome Powell.
The interest rates are too high. We have no inflation. We have a lot of cash coming in. The tariffs have been unbelievable now. People that didn't even believe in tariffs are saying, what a great move that was. We have hundreds of billions of dollars coming in. Japan, just on one deal, is paying us $550 billion. And they opened up their economy. It's incredible, the deal. And they're happy. We're happy. Everybody's happy. But we should have the lowest interest rate of any country, and we don't. We should have. Every point is worth $365 billion. So we want to get the rates down, but we also want to get the Fed building finished. So I met with the contractors, we toured it with the chairman, and we had a very good tour, and we'll talk to you about it sometime, but Tim and I, we sort of understand what happened.
Too expensive. Bottom line is this, that Americans deserve to become...
Steve said they can't afford housing because government printing money under Biden caused 40 years of high inflation. Steve, we forget about the fact that Donald Trump himself printed money like crazy during 2020. We had 2 massive stimulus checks being passed. I'm going to go ahead and let this play while I go let my dog out real quick.
First-time home buyers. President Trump's created the best economy in the world. The one thing that would make it better is lower interest rates. Full employment is even more possible. Wages rise faster as interest rates come down when your employment is at 4.1% because of your leadership. We have revenues coming in at record-breaking. Maybe last month even more revenue coming in than bills going out, which is remarkable.
They found $26 billion. They said, where did that come from? Nobody, I think that's been many, many decades since that happened.
I can't remember that.
They found $26 billion last month. And they said, where did that come from? I said, why don't you try the tariff? Said it was true. We're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars, and our country's doing great, and we have no inflation, and the numbers, the job, everything is good. The one thing we have to do is get housing prices down and the interest rates down so people can buy the house, because they're all making money, but they can't get the interest rate down. We have to.
Amen.
All right. He's been my friend for a long time.
You've been on a number of construction sites. Did you see management going on or funds there?
Well, I see a very luxurious situation taking place. Let's put it that way. And I was given a very nice tour by the head of construction. And, you know, look, if you look over here, they're trying to open up the basement. When you open up a basement, first of all, it's the worst space. Always a basement is the worst space in a building. And it's also the most expensive space to build. And especially here because you have a water line. You know, they go down into the water, so they have to build what's called a reverse bathtub. The water has to be kept out. It's very expensive construction. So it would have been good if they didn't build it. Would have been good if they didn't do certain other things. If you look at the kind of protection in the hall, have you been able to get in the hall? You saw the protection of plywood. I mean, that was a lot of money just to protect it for a period of time. I would have done it very gingerly and easily and not have spent, you know, millions of dollars on protection. And there are things that could have been different. Look, there's always Monday morning quarterbacks. I don't want to be that. I want to help them get it finished. It's been going on for years, and I want to help them get it finished. And what we really want to do, and I think I can speak for Tim, and I think I can speak to the entire Senate, we can speak for everybody, frankly, is...
Yo, thank you for those subscriptions, Fred and Carolina. Thank you so much for those subscriptions, by the way. And thank you for everybody who has tuned in. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, notification bell as well.
We want to see interest rates come down. Our country is booming. And
our country is not booming. He keeps saying this. It's just a lie. It's a patent lie.
Interest rates is a final little notch. And if you look at Europe, they've lowered 11 times in a short period of time. We've lowered 0. And we know they are competition, although we're in the process of probably making a very good deal with them too. They want to make a deal very badly, very badly. So we're making a deal. We just completed our deal with Indonesia. We just completed our deal with the Philippines. We're making unbelievable deals, and the money is pouring in. We want to.
He's saying we're making all these deals. Again, there's no paper to back any of the suggestion up.
Get interest rates in.
But on interest rates, at some point, does the level of interest rates now slow economic growth?
Yeah, it never helps it. If it's high, it never helps it. Well, it's already as good as we're doing. Think of how well we'd be doing. We'd be like a rocket ship.
Real wages down for the first time in 4 years. Consumer spending down. Trust me, you don't want stagflation with the rate cuts. MAG hatters look up stagflation. I lived through it. Yeah, Julian, this is the problem, right? Is like MAGA loves like the idea. They're like, oh yeah, like we're gonna have all this great booming economy. No, we're not. Yeah, like our consumer spending is going down. We are heading like our Christmas this year is going to be bad. Like it's going to be real bad. I'm almost positive we're going to feel the pressures of inflation come Q4, almost definitely, right? And then we're going to have real wages again going down because guess what? Nobody's going to be hiring, right? So it's going to be bad all around, yo. It's going to be bad. For 60 years, the CEO's income went up by 978%, 100%, Jose. What's your problem, Trump York? People need to be paid a better wage. The rich are holding profits. 100%, Brian. I agree with you 100%.
As good as.
And this is the problem too. So like I've heard people ask like, well, what would you do instead of these high tariffs? Well, for one, you would work out trade agreements. You would probably put in place certain embargoes on certain particular countries, or certain trade with certain countries so that if you don't like the fact that they have, you know, dare I say slave labor, right? Then put an embargo in place, which, by the way, the U.S. has had on certain countries, I believe Vietnam. We can look at the fact that you can put in a tariff on targeted areas, but not on another country. So maybe you want to boost up, a shirt manufacturer that's being made in, I don't know, China or Norway, which may have better regulations. Guess what? Put a tariff on everybody but Norway. That way it makes it more profitable and better for them to go through there. The other thing you can do, by the way, is putting in laws like regulations and things of that nature, licensing fees, things of that, right? There's other ways to try to prop up businesses aside from high tariffs. Right now, Donald Trump is just literally throwing a dart at the wall saying 18% on China for all products. That's a problem. And see, the thing is that a effective tariff policy works with no inflation, by the way, when you do targeted tariffs on when you do it on certain areas, certain industries. What we saw, for example, during Trump's first administration, when he implemented some tariffs, we actually saw, believe it or not, dare I say, why we didn't have high inflation under his administration, because when he did, whether he knowingly did it or not is a different story, is he put tariffs on I think it was steel from Japan. I don't remember which country it was. He put tariffs on a particular country's steel. Well, the reason why we didn't see inflation go up to the roof is because guess what? People started using China steel or whatever it was. Okay, I don't remember the names of the countries. But he ended up using some of their steel. So again, tariffs can work and can be effective, but my concern is that this. Thank you, Steve. China. I thought I was pretty close. Or it might have been the other way around. China might have gotten tariffed. But either way, the point of what I'm trying to say is that the way that Donald Trump is handling this is going to put a bitter taste in people's mouth to where they're not even going to want to put in place tariffs moving forward. If my utility raises my bill because of tariffs, China won't pay part of my electric bill. I pay it. 100%, Tammy. It doesn't get paid by the country that it's being exported from. It gets paid by you, the consumer. You're the one being taxed. That product, this glass mug that's being made in China or wherever, and it's coming here to the United States, is being paid by you, the American consumer. That's who's paying this. And Trump keeps trying to frame this as if the country's paying it. No, the country is not paying it. You, the consumer, the taxpayer that got all of these nice little tax cuts, you're not going to see a tax cut. You are a stupid communist. Great, Randall. You are all crying at the same time. He keeps saying we're taking in billions and it's us paying it. Exactly, D-Fella, 100%. Lay America first, except for his Bibles, watches, shirts, hats, flags, gold brooches, gold phones, and any other merch he sells for his beer. Exactly, Lay. It was found out that the phone that he said is made in America, it turns out it's being made in like China. Nice to hear a rational Republican. The rest of you MAGAs better snap out of it before it's too late. Good night, y'all. Bob, I am not a Republican. I voted for Kamala Harris. I don't know if you're referring to me or not, but yes. Is a single person in America happy? I mean, I'm sure a single person is, but they're probably lying to themselves. Grocery products are up 10 to 12% for any imported items. 100%. We're seeing a lot of writings on the wall right now, Carlton, where, again, we're going to see inflation coming here in the coming months. You don't have to buy the expensive shit. You have other options, David, all kinds of products. I don't know what you're referring to, Jesse. Sounds like you're jealous to me. I don't know who you're referring to. But what I will say is this. If you're referring to me about you don't have to buy the expensive stuff, guess what? Other companies see that there's this other company is charging like $2. Let's say it's a piece of bread. I don't know. Just work with me on this hypothetical. We have a piece of bread that's worth, $1. Okay. All of a sudden it gets imported and there's a tariff on it. It goes up to $2 for that particular, loaf of bread. Well, guess what? The company that's charging $1 is like, yo, wait a minute. I can use tariffs to unnecessarily artificially raise the price of my product as well, because like everybody's going to need bread. And that's what they do, right? Yes, I'm referring to you. They're slick. Okay, I'm not sure. But what I'm saying is that corporations will always use tariffs as a reason to raise their prices. And I guarantee you, they're not going to go down. So, yes. It's called economics. Look at price elasticity. Sure, Carlton. 100%. Oh, Lord, let's compare crying. I'll start. MAGA crying about straws, rainbows, tan suits, the Pope, childless women. Yeah, exactly. Gonna have to go. It's 3:45 in the UK. Yo, Beverly, welcome in from the UK. It's awesome to see some people from overseas. Have a good night. Congrats, MAGA. You're now known as a party that defends billionaires. Yeah. Cheers, early. Why are you worrying about some files and nobody worrying about how broke America is, that nobody maybe not get their jobs back? America's about to fall. Thank God. That was a very confusing chat, Mark, but thank you. Guys, it is getting extremely late. I'm way over on my time that I should be, and we didn't reach our super chat goal, but no worries. We did as best as we could, and that's okay. So on that note, I think I'm going to call it a night. But make sure you hit that like, subscribe, notification bell, guys. We stream Wednesdays and Fridays, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Okay? Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you have that notification bell on. It'll let you know when I go live. Again, next week, we're going to be doing a TikTok stream, probably Monday or Tuesday. Haven't quite determined just yet, but it will be done then. And then the next week, forgot to mention, we're going to have Sansol on next week as well. For anyone who's unaware of who Sansol is, go give his channel a look. It's pretty great. He's another kind of leftist content creator. He's a little more left, I think, than me, but we kind of have a line and look similar on a lot of things. And then we're going to move Friday to doing potentially viewer call-in, so that you don't want to miss that. Spartacus, great stream, Vince. See you Wednesday. Yes, sir. Thank you so much for coming in, Spartacus. I appreciate everything you do. Great show, Vince. Good night. Yeah, thank you, Steve. I appreciate you coming in, man. I don't know if you guys can tell, I'm exhausted. Yo, Wes, my man. My man. Let's go, Wes. Thank you so much. Dan, thank you for the $5. Thank you guys so much. Means the world to me, guys. I appreciate everything you guys do. I'm exhausted, if you can't tell. So thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. All right, guys. Take care, and I will see you guys